So that's what. No, he did. He did. He mentioned you and another name for 2021. I picked up on it. I've got very big ears. See, they only get bigger with age. They're absolutely massive, but they're good at picking these things up. So no, he definitely was Yuri called up. See, before or after the fight in December, and 100%. So that's happening this year. That is happening this year. Be sure of it.
Got to.
Already talking.
Good. Number 3 is the fight that makes, the most sense, really, is Ryota Morata, because he is, WBA super middleweight, super middleweight world champion. Not super middle, but super middle. Yeah.
Super. No, he's the super middleweight super champ. Yeah. We're with you. We're with you.
WBA interim world champion, so I'm number 1 contender for that belt. So that fight makes a lot of sense. That's a fight I know I can win. So hopefully we can get that done, because like I said, it's belt collecting season. I want these belts. I want these fights. I don't know what's going on with the WBA regular world title. I don't know if that's something I would be ordered to fight for because I'm WBA interim. I don't know how it all works, or if I can just go straight for the super. You would know that.
I think if it makes dollars, it makes sense, Chris. That's always my saying. If it makes dollars, it makes sense. And but the Morata fight, definitely been in touch with them as well. They were on to us. Definitely one for this year as well. I mean, you've said 3. I think that there's a couple of sort of off spin ones. I put Kell Brook out there. I thought that was an interesting UK one. I see you smirking. And Liam Williams, but Liam Williams has his fight with Andrade, and then we can talk afterwards. But what do you think about Kell Brook?
Well, so you got those 2 names.
Creative matchmaking there. That's what I call it. Creative matchmaking.
Done it. You're the promoter, and you've brought two fights up, and now everyone's talking about them. It's a fun fight. It's a fun fight with Kel. We've had our back and forths over the years. I'm sure it's a fight a lot of people in Britain would love to see. So if you want to throw him in there with me, then I'm not going to say no.
I mean, it's just in terms of being a big UK name. The other one I know that's been talked about a lot is Liam Williams, and I think he's a great up and coming fighter, but he's got that world title fight coming up. So I've reached out they reached out for me, and I reached out back. I never heard back from this promoter. So, but that's one that we'll keep talking. But I think they have a fight with Andrade first. So that's
what he's saying, from what I'm hearing, I'm the guy he wants. So he, I mean, if he's a man of his word, if the things that he's talking about are true, then he'd take the fight with me before he took the fight with Andrade. Yeah. It's probably a bigger money fight for him. So.
Oh, money-wise for sure. Negotiation-wise, I'd have to say he'd be advised to do the Andrade fight first, from his point of view.
I mean, I think that would make off it, because I don't see him winning that. So I think that would kind of that would ruin the hype of.
That's another thing. I'm putting myself in their camp's shoes, and they believe they beat Andrade. They're much cleverer if they beat Andrade and then negotiate with us.
If they believe that,
you remember your last victory in the UK was against James DeGale. You wiped out James DeGale, who was a household pay-per-view name. That was obviously last year was a COVID year and everything, but that was the last fight. So you're coming off that pedestal, you've had some some great wins over here. But at the same time, commercially, you're in another league at the moment. So you need to, as someone who's coming through, my advice would be take that world title fight, get something, and then you get a bigger chunk of the pie. If you want to make the fight now, it's certainly not 50-50 like I saw Frank was saying. So that's just the promoter talking. But I think there's a load of great fights, and I think Kell Brook, Liam Williams was a great, also big domestic fights, and that's all great too. But I think the one big one on the this for me this year is definitely Triple G, and that's one that has to get made. That has to get made. That's the big one. So that was. Let's skip through some more of these, or else we'll be discussing this all night. Let's have a look what other interesting ones that weren't too rude. Here's one from Ollie Mick. What is your diet like? And actually, I'd like to hear this as well. What's your diet like? Do you stick to a strict diet? I mean, I see you eating a lot of sushi and things like that on your Instagram, but have you got a strict diet? By the way, I've had fantastic conversations with Senior about dieting, and I remember sitting there in a meeting, I had a protein shake, just came from a training session, and your old man looked at me and goes, "What's that?" Like, he is exactly the, and you looked at your old man's body during his fighting career, always in shape, but he told me the way he trained in diet, I mean, forget it. It was exactly the opposite of what I'm guessing you're about to tell me.
No, I'm not. My metabolism is crazy. So anything I eat or drink, it burns up immediately. I don't put any weight on ever.
Yeah.
Never been the same size for the last 10 years. During a fight camp, when I'm cutting weight, then I wouldn't even say I have a specific diet. I just have, it's about calorie intake. It's about cutting down what you eat and not eating, sweets, and sugar and bread too much. But even then, I can still get away with eating, carbs and, a little dessert here and there. It doesn't really do anything to me. I just have to, make the portion smaller as I get closer to outside of that, I just try and eat good food. There's no, I eat red meat. I eat pork every now and again. I'm always trying to eat vegetables. I'll have chocolate. I'll have, a sweet drink. I'm not one of those guys that's just like, right, this is the
okay.
It's not like blessed with the metabolism to be able to handle that.
Okay.
Good food, cooked, restaurants or good cooked meals. I don't eat a lot of fast food. I don't eat a lot of like sweets and candy. But just you've got to be responsible. You've got to know your own body. That's
okay. That's a good answer. Duran, Hearns, or Hagler by Lars.
Duran, Hearns, or Hagler. Where the hell is Leonard? How's this guy?
I was sort of thinking that as well. Although I'm a Hagler man, I've got to confess I am a proper Hagler.
I mean, listen, they're all, greats, but in my opinion, Leonard was the greatest of the greats.
Was the slickest. Was the slickest. I still think Hagler won, but that's my personal opinion.
If you're going to say, do you want to watch a Hagler fight or a Leonard, Sugar Ray Leonard fight, I'm going to always watch Leonard just because of his style. Is just how he.
With one exception. Hagler Hearns, you can't. I mean, Hagler Hearns is for me. Number one.
That was a massive fight. But if you're talking about just solely looking at the styles, I'm a Sugar Ray Leonard man. Just I love the speed. I love the punch output. That's all me. You know me. Left, right, and center for 12 rounds, and that's what he did. Hagler's just more, come forward, bobbing.
And Triple G is often referred to as a haggler. So we could be seeing this year the modern day Leonard Hagler. That's what I'm saying, people. That's what I'm saying. Will Roy Jones be in the corner in the next fight? Sean Rye, we've just said that already.
Yes, my corner for the rest of my career, in my opinion.
Just a second. Would you ever go on celebrity? And which celebrity? I'm assuming it means celebrity. Get me out of here. The jungle thing.
Be brother, be dancing on ice. There's a couple.
Yeah, but I think it's nice. I'm a celebrity, so I think it means that the jungle one. Which celebs would he want to go on with him? Oh, I'd have a few ideas there, but for myself that is. But which you tell me what would you go on one? And if you did, give us 2 or 3.
I know I've been asked to go on these shows for years now, and I've always turned them down. Just those are not shows that you do in the prime of your career. Not taking anything away from them. They are great shows, very entertaining, and someday in my life, I may turn around and say, yeah, I love a little bit of the jungle or Big Brother or whatever it is. But for right now, it's just not in my mindset. I'm a boxer, I'm a fighter. That's all I want to do. I don't want to be known for going on TV and eating sheep's bollocks and
that's the part that gets me every time.
Yeah, too much. It's too much for me right now.
Yeah. Right, my favourite one. This is from Stephen Smith. This is my favourite one, but I wasn't sure if it's for you or for me. But we'll ask it. Will you be the guy to shut Jake Paul up? I'd be very happy to, people. I'm in full training, and I reckon I'd do it easy. But anyway, I'm gonna pass it over to you, Chris. Will you be the guy to shut him up?
Someone actually, a friend of his actually said that he'd be up for coming and sparring with me at one.
I'd love to see that. I'd pay to see that.
Because he's been going around Vegas and he's been sparring with some of these pros and stuff like that. And apparently he's been doing all right, which just blows my mind.
Nah, I'd love to see a video of that. Yeah. If he pays them and straps their hands behind them with one arm. Yeah, one arm.
People always ask me, what do you think about these YouTubers and these non-boxers fighting? And to be honest, they're bringing a whole new audience. They're bringing a whole new platform to the game. So Absolutely. In that sense, it's not a bad thing because, all these kids on YouTube and all these people that never would have watched boxing, now they're watching these guys fight, and then they're probably thinking, all right, well, who are the other boxers? Who are the other guys doing this? And then so it kind of trickles over. So in that sense, it's probably an all right thing. But calling themselves pros, that's a different thing. I don't know.
No, it's embarrassing, Chris. I'm all for YouTubers or celebrity, whatever, fighting each other. Brings eyeballs to our sport. In case of YouTubers, it brings young people to our sport as well. Very important. Very important. If it's going to be done by YouTubers fighting YouTubers, I'm okay with that. I paid a tenner and stood up at 5 a.m. with my lad to watch KSI beat up one of the Pauls. Actually, I would have paid 100 quid if I knew we beat up one of the Pauls now after I know what the Pauls are like. So well done, KSI, and that's all good. But I think it's and then they start the whole Mayweather thing. I mean, it's like I remember training. I boxed when I was from 11 to about 19. Always, All Stars, Harold Road, things like that. And so I was shit. I was terrible, but I really enjoyed it. Just sparring But I remember getting in the ring with my old coach, who was a guy called Clay O'Shea. He was a British level pro, quit early, and was very nothing special pro. And I trained for a few years, and I remember the first time we sparred proper, I couldn't get near him. You know, it was like, and this was after a few years. Now, okay, they brought in, you know, Shannon Briggs and God knows who else to train him. I know Shannon. And so, but you don't learn boxing in 3 months that you think you're going to get near a pro. Now, but you're not talking about, like, my guy who was a British level pro, Clay O'Shea. You are talking about arguably, no, definitely the best defensive boxer of all time, and arguably the best boxer of all time, certainly when you look at his record. And you're telling me as a YouTuber, you are not going to you wouldn't be able to lay one lace on him, not one lace. And if he wants to, he will take your head off. That's why but anyway, let's not get, I'm answering, these questions are for you, so I'm getting too involved here.
We know, as people that are involved in the sport directly, we know, but there's actually millions of people that don't know that. They think, oh, well, Logan Paul is 50 pounds heavier, he's big, he's got muscles. Floyd's small, he's old, he's retired.
Yeah,
he could win.
Beat him with 80 in a wheelchair, rolling. Walking stick, Zimmer frame, he'd still beat him. I mean, it's like tennis. I don't know if you stand ever in a tennis court and you take a serve and you see a professional tennis player serve, you don't see that ball. If you take, I'm not very good at cricket, but like when I was growing up, it was Curtly Ambrose, the big West Indian. If he throws a ball at you, you're standing there with a cricket bat, and you've done it for 3 months, you don't see that ball. And if you do see the ball, it's because it's just gone into your eye socket. So, you know, these are levels. And boxing, the difference with tennis is, yeah, okay, you missed the ball. You know, worst case, it hits you in the nuts, you know. But in boxing, it's a difference. You know, the fist is actually coming for your face. And that's why, it's a bizarre one, but yeah. But I'll take YouTubers fighting YouTubers because, as I said, I think it retracts attention. Right, couple more. Which was your most memorable pro fight and why?
Nick Blackwell.
Well, the most satisfying pro fight would have to be the DeGale win, just because of the beef and the build up. It just it was just years and years of back and forth and trash talk, and I'm going to knock you out, and I beat you up in sparring, and the interviews, and seeing him at shows, and securities bumping heads, and it's just that was probably. And I always knew I could beat him, and everyone wrote me off. He's just going to outbox you, he's going to bat you, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. So to finally get in the ring with him and do what I did to him, yeah, that was definitely the most satisfying win of my career, for sure.
Okay. You just mentioned it in talking about sparring and things. What was your toughest spar ever? Not too many details, because we never talk about sparring, but what would you say was your toughest spar? Maybe as a young guy, or
the heavyweight.
My toughest spar was when I went out to Cuba.
Yeah, the heavyweight.
So the first day of sparring out there, I got in there with middleweight, and they do this thing out there called technical sparring, which I had never done before.
Explain to us what is technical. I've never heard of that. What is technical sparring?
And I've actually started doing this from time to time now. More recently at the end of my career, or towards the end of my career. But so technical sparring is kind of, you're not looking to really hurt the guy. You're just working on things, whether it's you're working a certain punch or head movement or the jab. You're not going out. It's not like an all-out fight. You're not really trying to hurt the guy. You're just working with somebody. I'd never done that before. But the Cubans are big on that. I didn't realize they spoke to me in Spanish, and they said, you're going to spar with this guy, but they were saying all this stuff, and I thought it was just going to be a proper spar. So I got in there, and I hurt this kid pretty much. And I think he was one of the Olympians at middleweight. So the next day, they brought me back in the gym. They said, oh, we got another spar for you. You're going to spar with the one of the heavyweights, and this guy was he fought in the 2012 Olympics for Cuba as a heavyweight. You know, where I'm from, when a middleweight spar, and I've sparred heavyweights before, but they've always taken it easy, you know, just because there's such a huge weight and size difference, you know. When it's two guys the same size, you don't have to take it easy. You can do what you want. But when you're sparring a guy that's a lot bigger than you, it's kind of like an unwritten rule. You don't try and bang him out. They were obviously upset with what I had done the day before, so they just basically told this guy, take his head off. And that's what he did. For 3 rounds, he beat the hell out of me for 3 rounds. He knocked me out of the ring. I had to get back climb back into the ring. And I said to myself, right, they told me to do 3 rounds with him, so I'm not getting out of the ring. I'm not quitting. I'm staying in there, and I'm taking it for 3 rounds. And that's what I did. And he beat the shit out of me for 3 rounds. And that was the toughest spar of my career. I was probably...
Yeah, I remember that shit.
I was probably
that heavyweight didn't give no breaks.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe a little bit younger.
Sort of like a boxing university.
Yes, but you know, I learned a lot from that.
I mean, Cuba is still, for me. I mean, you got the issue when the pros come over, the discipline goes. You see that with a lot of Cubans, but the amateurs, the Cuban amateurs. I mean, you just got to look in the history books. Yeah,
I'm glad it happened, because you know that for the rest of my career gave me the confidence of, right, well, this Cuban Olympic heavyweight threw everything at me, battered me, but he never knocked me out. He hit me with big shots. You know, I got flashes of white, but I was right back there. So if this guy can't knock me out, how's a middleweight going to knock me out? You know, so that's who I could take a shot. I knew, that made me unfearful of anybody. I was never scared of anybody's power. That's why confident with the Golovkin fight. Everyone talks about how he's, you know, this huge puncher, and he hits like a horse.
He'll whoop Golovkin ass. Say it, Chris. I'll whoop Golovkin ass. I believe in you.
Okay, listen. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Chris, I'm going to let you get on with your training day. As we prepare for the first one, we'll be announcing in a couple of weeks' time. And looking forward to 2021 Team Takeover.
Big year, Team Takeover, and you line them up, I'll knock them down.
Looking forward to it, my man. All the very best from Lockdown London.
Okay, appreciate it, man.
Take care, man. See you soon. Cheers.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.